So I bought myself a cheap budget Beko hob stove and oven. I'm going to show you how I'm fitting it in my house. You best get an electrician and a gas fitter to do this properly. So that's my disclaimer. However, I'm quite handy with this basic stuff, so I'm going to be doing this myself. I'm showing you how I'm doing it. This may not necessarily translate to you, but at least you've got an idea. So on the back of my worktop unit, I had an old style cooker that you saw a little bit earlier. Everything was gas, quite old to be honest, and we just made do with it. But now we're doing a bit more cooking and baking and stuff, so I wanted a nicer version. So we picked up a Beko cooker hook, well, you call it a hob, don't you? And an oven. So it's an electric oven and the gas hob. So in this episode, I'm basically walking through what I did. So you get a cable. It's like wiring a plug. If you can wire a plug, it's kind of similar process. On the back of the electric hob, you've got 3 wires: live, earth, neutral. There's a little sticker there saying which wire goes where. I got an extra plug and a wire. So like think about if you've got an old vacuum cleaner, or if you've got an old toaster, or you've got something old that you've got rid of, cut the cable off. I normally keep all my cables and plugs because you've got an extra cable there to use. You've got a fuse in there as well. So I'm basically wiring up this option. You'll see the cable here, I'm using it slightly different. However, you can just wire up a normal plug and cable, like you know the flexi cables, so stuff you're used to seeing, and those go here. So I screw in the back of the hob, and then there's a plug on the other side. And then if you've got a plug, you can just plug in your hob into a plug unit in your kitchen. If you don't have a plug unit behind where you want your kitchen, you can get an extension and use like a cord, or you can get an electrician in and get an extra socket put in. But with me, I'm doing it slightly differently because I've got the wall unit, which allows me to wire the cable both sides with a wire, as opposed to having a plug. So the similar wire you're seeing here, I used this on the other side as well, and I updated my little socket. In the start I showed you that little clip of that updated socket I bought. It's basically like a version on the wall that lets you plug the hob in, and then when the hob's plugged in, you can use the socket. There's like a separate, you know, on the worktop you normally have an area where you've got like an extra switch for a cooker or a washing machine, so you can turn that off without having to move the entire the hob basically. So yeah, this is like just giving you an idea of what my process is, what I'm doing, and if you bought this similar thing you might benefit from this. But it's just basically a simple wiring setup. The wires go into the correct spots. There's a sticker there telling you where which wire should go, so I'm using this to wire that in, and then the opposite side will be wired into that unit. This is that new unit I bought, and that goes on the actual wall, so that'll be something to keep an eye on. What you want to do is just unscrew the front panel on this, and then use that to feed the wire in, and the wire from the wall goes into this same unit. Think of it like a union box type thing. So I've cut the wires up and then put them in. As this is not really a guide, I'll jump ahead to once this is all set up, because this wiring thing is a bit boring, but I've sped it up a little bit to give you an idea of what I'm doing. So now I'm jumping ahead to the wall. You'll see in the wall I've already got 3 wires there. Make sure your home electrics are turned off if you're doing this yourself. I would advise getting it done by like a qualified electrician, blah 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 blah. But a lot of us like to do DIY things, just don't end up killing yourself getting electrocuted, so be safe. So you'll see here I've got a gas pipe, and then I've got the electric unit next to it. So the hob will basically cover up all of this, and it will be in this place. It's not a very good view, you can't see what I'm doing here, but I'm just putting the cables in and cutting them to length, and then screwing in everything in place. And then there will be a switch which turns the hob on, or I keep calling it a hob, it's an electric oven, isn't it? So yeah, that's basically putting the wires in, then putting the casing on, and then getting it all in place. So once all that stuff was being done, I had to cut the worktop. Remember in the last episode you saw me set up the units and everything? I had to get a new worktop and cut in my hob. So make sure you measure your hob. Hob is basically like the gas things on top that burn and you get flame from. So I wanted it to be gas. I don't like electric hobs. They're a bit, I don't know, I just like to see fire as opposed to something getting hot and it's a pad, and you know what I mean. But yeah, so all I did was I put the worktop upside down, drilled a hole in the corner. So you'll need a drill with a good drill bit and a jigsaw, and I had my jigsaw is a cordless one. So yeah, this is a full worktop unit. You'll see it's quite a long one. What I did is I put some wood underneath it to raise it up a bit so I don't end up cutting my units in the bottom. I made sure my blade was just about going through and not going to cut anything on the bottom. And you'll see here, this is me cutting through the board now. So I've raised it a little bit, keep it flat and let the blade do the work. Slowly work in, keep looking down to make sure it is cutting okay. Try and cut it upside down, because most jigsaws cut on the upstroke, which means when it's coming up, it's cutting. So that if it's upside down, that will be smooth on your, the worktop area section bit. So I worked towards one corner, did another hole, worked towards that corner, and then slowly that whole section came out. And then I was able to put my hob straight into this, and now it's all like one nice unit. So it's just little like finishing off type work, just to be nice. What I did do is I screwed on a little piece of wood to hold that inner section in, because what happens is when you jigsaw it, that inner section can just drop out and you get like a jagged edge. So what I did is I put a little piece of wood just to hold that in place. You'll see that little wood there. It's screwed on the inside of that piece that's going to drop out, and one screw on the main worktop just to hold it in place while I screw while I drill while I cut. And once I've cut, then that wood holds it in place. I unscrew that screw. You see that now, and that inner section is just like kind of come away now. I can pull it out. So that puts low pressure on your blade, and it's cutting a nicer edge. That can be quite handy to help you basically get a nice clean cut. And you can see I just pushed the section out. I was wearing ear defenders because it was really loud. So just push the whole inner pad out. You've got a nice clean cut. You can afford to go a couple of millimeters bigger, because you've got a good 2 centimeters, a centimeter on each side of the actual hob. So that will sit comfortably within this setup. So what I'll do is I'll flip this around and just put the hob in just to test it and see if it fits in there. And if it fits okay, then we're good to go to the next step. Again, this is part of my kitchen remake series. So I've done a bit of tiling. I've changed one of the worktops because I changed the worktop. I'm going to be also changing the sink worktop as well, because that's been degrading over time. It's been the silicon's failed and water's been getting behind that. So you'll see here now I'm putting the unit in place. What tends to happen with these cheaper Beko type ones, especially from Currys and PC World, give them a bit of time to bed in just to make sure there's no issues. So what I did do is I just placed it in place, and then I put the unit below it. So this is a 600mm unit, and the hob goes in there. I didn't fully seat it. I didn't put the screws in the bottom or the silicone, the stuff they give you around the sides. I didn't put any of that in. I just put the gas connector on, because if something goes wrong, I can easily take it out and take it back to the store and get a replacement. Once it's all fitted, it's a little bit of a nightmare to get it all taken out. So here the gas pipe this is another thing. Make sure you get like a proper qualified blah blah blah, whoever a certified thing to do this for you. I'm doing it myself because I've done a fair few of these and I've got a rough idea. One trick I use is make sure all the screw joints have this tape on. You get this from most plumbing tape shops. It's basically like it stops leakages from the screw thread, because what happens is metal on metal screw threads can have a couple of spaces where gas can leak from. So what I use is this tape just to help secure it. What you can also do is, once you've put it all in place and you open the gas, I normally put a little bit of fairy and water solution around each of these screw joints. If you start seeing bubbles, gas is leaking. So that's like an extra little tip. Rather than smelling it, you can actually visually see it. So get a bit of fairy on your fingertips, get a couple of drops of water, and just rub it around both sides of where the joints are you made, and leave it for a 4, 5, 6 minutes. Keep looking at it. Can you see bubbles forming? If you see bubbles forming, that means gas is escaping from there, and then you want to make sure you either reseal it. I've never in my 5, 6 times of doing this had any gas leakage. If I do it this way, like use a PVT, TV tape. Basically go to the plumbing shop and say, can I get the tape that goes around the screws? The white stuff. There's an official name for it. I might put it in the description. But most people that do this don't worry about names. They just know what they're doing and they just carry on doing it. If in doubt, get a proper person to do it for you. Don't do this and then get gas leaks in your house, because that's like a major worry. So yeah, this one, it's okay. These gas knobs are on the right hand side. I'm used to having them on the front as you stand towards the hob. But yeah, I just checked all the gases and I could hear gas coming out, so it's perfectly fine. And then give it a test run. And there's a bit of safety features on these new type ones. So see here, I'm just looking at that again just to see if there's any bubbles or not. And yeah, so what we've done so far is we've put the unit in place. I've cut the worktop. I've put the store hob into the worktop. I haven't screwed everything down yet. I want to do that as my last resort. I'm just positioning all the units. My hob will go in there as well. So you can see now I'm lighting the flames on these just to see how well they are. For a budget option, how much did I pay for this? I think I paid £300 for the gas cooker and the electric stove. That's like, in grand scheme of things, that's quite cheap. You can get like a Bosch one, a fancy one, £600-700, but I just wanted something basic that does the job. And yeah, but you'll see that over time you can upgrade these. Once your setup is here, there's no reason why you can't replace this hob with a more fancy hob. Just get the right measurements. This is a 60 centimeter one, like for a 60 centimeter unit. So yeah, the flames worked well, they lit well. There's like 2 small sizes, 1 big one and 1 medium one. So you've got all the necessary requirements for cooking. I just prefer having a flame to like a heat. But one thing that it does look is it looks a bit old school. The reason for that is if you notice it's like protruding from the worktop, whereas if you have an electric one, it's like all flush with your worktop and it looks a bit more sleek and modern, and it just depends what you prefer really. Still got little bits of tiling to finish around the outside, but I can do that as I put the worktop down. I left that little gap in the back because I wanted to put the worktop down, silicone all the edges, and then put tiles so that any moisture or water, it does not go into the... And then I simply bring over my electric hob and slide it in. Slides in, and then I just plug it in. So plug into that electrical unit thing. So I showed you both ways of doing this. The first way I showed you was wiring it to your wall unit if you've got that electric wall unit, but I ended up doing the easier option by putting a plug in there. I thought it's easier with the plug because I've got extra safety feature with the fuse, and if I decide to move it, I can just plug it in temporarily elsewhere and still use it, because these have quite a good few options. I was thinking of getting a gas cooker, a grill and an oven, but then when I found out these new electric ones have an inbuilt grill function, top heating, bottom heating, top and bottom heating, and fan assisted heating, I thought, okay, that's quite good, because these electric ovens offer you all of that. So when you want to have like cheese on bread or toast with cheese and like a toasty type thing, you could put it in the oven and put it in grill mode, and it acts as if it's a grill. So I've got that function here. All it is is one unit, whereas before I had like a separate oven and a separate grill, and that actually wasted space. And it's got enough slots in there. So what I did here is I pushed it in place, made sure it's okay, moved it out the way, and realized that I've got a couple of millimeters space that I can play about with on the top. So the shelf for this unit is designed to be made for a number of different hobs. So like some hobs are bigger, some hobs are smaller. You have double hobs, you have single hobs. With this hob, because it's a little bit smaller, I moved the shelf up a little bit, which meant I had a snug fit for the hob, and then I had a little bit more space in the bottom shelf. And you can get sliding shelves for these, where you can put like extra stuff for the oven, like the baking trays and stuff below the oven, so everything's included in that one area. So what I'm doing right now is undoing the screw for this panel of shelf and just moving it up. There's already pre-drilled holes there, and it's like 4mm, 5mm difference between them, so it's a little bit higher, lower, higher, lower. I put it in the middle because I wasn't sure where the oven would fit, so I just moved it up to the highest level and then put the hob on top of that, and that kind of worked out nice. You see I'm just unscrewing and screwing the screws back in. They like this little screw options, like so the shelf sits on top of them basically, and there's metal clips that hold it in place as well. So just keep that in mind, that is an option. And most of these things, if you approach them with a sensible way and look at what you're doing and understand that, okay, why are there holes on this inner shelf? I'm putting a shelf here. Okay, so that shelf has 3 holes above it, 3 holes below it. That means I can put it on any one of those holes depending on what oven I've got or what hob I've got. So these little things, if you spend a little bit of time, look at what you've got. If in doubt, refer to someone who does this for a living and get them, just pay them to do it. But because I've done quite a lot of DIY stuff, I prefer doing things myself, and it works out, I can do it on my own pace, my own time. I don't have to worry about waiting for workers to turn up, ill days, and then them turning up and doing another job halfway through. Like, remember my building extension series, where like they ended up doing 1 hour, 2 hours a day towards the end of the project, and then I told them to leave and I finished it off myself. So here's the sink one. So I'm showing you this. I put the wall unit on and the hob extractor fan. This piece here is what my sink was sitting in, and you see it started degrading over time. So the next episode I'm going to be actually explaining how I replaced that section. See, this is all just soft now. and that was because water was getting behind. I didn't really notice it, and over time it slowly got worse and worse. I've got a new section. I want to be cutting it, and I'm going to be placing it here, and then silicone sealing all the edges. The next episode on screen, I'll see you on that.